The courthouse in Morrison County, Georgia, sat quietly under a sky that looked as though it hadn't decided whether to rain or not. It was the kind of morning that didn't announce itself, a calm that made people speak softer and walk slower. On the eastern side of the building, a side door creaked open. A man entered. No uniform, no ribbons, no fanfare. Just pressed slacks, a simple collared shirt, and a time-worn briefcase. His name was Leonard Wallace, 64 years old, upright but modest. He moved the way someone did when they were used to being overlooked, but had spent a lifetime observing everyone else. Leonard found a bench outside courtroom C and settled quietly. He wasn't there to make a speech, call attention to himself, or demand recognition. He came as a witness for a former soldier, someone he once commanded, a young black man named Devin Booker, now facing trial for allegedly assaulting a police officer during a late-night traffic stop. Leonard believed the charges were as much about perception as they were about law, and he carried evidence to prove it. He could have called ahead. He could have had credentials verified, doors opened, escorts offered. But Leonard had long since stopped using his rank like a sword. Today, he was simply a citizen, a man fulfilling an obligation. In his briefcase were military evaluations, a letter handwritten on Department of Defense stationery, and deployment records that testified to Booker's service. But no one passing by knew that. To them, he was just another older black man waiting quietly outside a courtroom, holding a weathered case. Inside, the courtroom buzzed with anticipation. The case had stirred up conversation throughout the county. Some saw Booker as a threat, others a scapegoat. Nobody knew that the quiet man sitting alone in the hallway had once coordinated multi-theater operations, briefed 3 presidents, or held clearance levels that made senators nervous. Leonard wasn't there to posture. He was there to make sure the system remembered what it was supposed to do. He stood eventually, approaching a small glass window labeled Clerk, Legal Submissions. A modest sign nearby requested that witnesses submit documentation before entering. As Leonard stepped forward to follow instructions, he unknowingly crossed a faded bronze strip in the floor. It read staff only, though the lettering was almost invisible under years of polish and wear. From near the side exit, a voice called out, sharp, commanding, "Sir, stop right there." Officer Courtney Reed, mid-30s, newly assigned to the courthouse, stepped forward. White, square-shouldered, her uniform crisp, her eyes scanning with suspicion. She was the kind of officer who followed the manual with religious conviction. Leonard turned toward her, calmly holding his briefcase. "I'm just submitting documentation for a trial," he said evenly. "Case 24B. I'm a witness." "You're in a restricted area," she snapped, stepping into his path. "Did you not see the sign?" "The markings were unclear. I wasn't trying to break any rules." "What's your name?" "Leonard Wallace." "Do you have ID on you?" Leonard nodded. "It's in my briefcase." "Keep your hands where I can see them." He froze. Slowly, he lifted both hands, palms open. "I'm cooperating," he said. "I'm here as a witness, not a threat. Everything I have is for the defense." But Reed wasn't listening anymore. Not really. She saw a tall, older black man with no badge, walking past an invisible boundary. That was all she needed. "Step away from the bag." "Officer, please. All I have are files." "If you look," I said, "that's enough." Her voice rose, echoing down the hallway. Heads turned. A few people glanced up from their phones. Reed reached for her baton. A loud click echoed as she unlatched it from her belt. "I know how this goes," Leonard said quietly. "But you're making a mistake. You're in a secure hallway and not following instructions. Turn around." Leonard sighed. It was the kind of sigh that had nothing to do with exhaustion and everything to do with knowing that history was happening again. He turned slowly, deliberately, offering no resistance. Her hand gripped one of his wrists, then the other, and the metal cuffs closed with a click that was far too loud in the stillness. Someone whispered, "Why is she cuffing him?" Another replied, "I don't know. He didn't do anything." A security clerk behind the glass window paused her typing and quietly slid the partition shut. A lawyer waiting for a different hearing looked away, shifting in his seat. Not one person intervened. Because no one ever wanted to be the first, Leonard didn't argue. He didn't resist. He stood calmly, his posture unbroken, his silence louder than anything he could have said. Officer Reed pressed her radio. Reed requesting backup. Possible non-compliant subject, hallway 2. Officer, Leonard said gently. May I make a phone call? To who? She replied, her voice dripping sarcasm. Your lawyer? You want me to dial the White House while I'm at it? No, Leonard said calmly. The Pentagon will do. A laugh slipped from her lips. Sharp mocking. Pentagon, huh? Let me guess. You moonlight as an astronaut too. Leonard said nothing. He tilted his head toward his jacket pocket. My phone's in there. There's a number starred in the contact list. You'll find it. Still amused, Reed reached into his coat and pulled out a sleek, government-issued black phone. No apps, no case, just secure matte black tech. She swiped, found the starred contact, and dialed. It rang once. Then again, Major Kirkland, Joint Ops Command, came a voice on the other end. Crisp, confident, unmistakably official. Reed's eyes widened. She swallowed. I have Lieutenant General Wallace, Leonard said. Unlawfully detained. Morrison County Courthouse, Georgia. Requesting verification protocol. Understood, sir. The major responded instantly. Connecting with Homeland Liaison and DoD verification now. Secure where you are. Helps inbound. Reed's hands trembled slightly as she held the phone. Another voice came on the line. Commander Jenkins, Defense Operations. General Wallace, we are locking coordinates. Expect official contact within 10 minutes. Leonard's voice never shifted. Thank you. Reed looked around. The hallway had gone still. Phones were up now. People were recording. A quiet murmur spread as the gravity of what was happening began to settle, and 10 minutes later, 3 black SUVs pulled into the lot. A colonel stepped out first, followed by federal officers in dark suits with no need for identification. Inside, the judge's staff scrambled. Then came a man in full army dress, polished to perfection. He didn't knock. He didn't wait. He entered the courthouse, asked where Leonard Wallace was, and stepped into the hallway with a presence that made everyone go silent. He turned to Officer Reed. Are you the one who placed General Wallace in handcuffs? Yes, but you placed a senior defense official in restraints without verifying identification, he said. This is now a federal matter. You are relieved of authority pending investigation. Step back. The hallway was a vacuum. Reed backed up without a word. The handcuffs came off. Leonard stretched his wrists slowly, flexed his fingers, and straightened his jacket. Still silent, the officer turned toward the crowd, then the courtroom. General Wallace is here to testify in case 24B, he said. The court will proceed with his statement. Inside, the judge tried to gather himself. Leonard stepped forward. He faced the courtroom. Looked at Officer Reed. She didn't cuff me because of anything I did, he said. She cuffed me because of what she assumed I was. No one spoke. I didn't ask to be saluted. I didn't ask to be recognized. I just needed to be seen. As a man. He paused. I served this country for 33 years. But the moment the uniform comes off, the respect should remain. If it doesn't, we've all failed. The judge swallowed hard. A few people were crying quietly. One young woman hit record on her phone. That video would go viral within the hour. Leonard finished with this. I didn't come here for this. I came here for justice. Not just for the young man in that chair, but for everyone who walks into this room hoping it still means something. Saturday, the judge ordered a recess. The court didn't just remember Leonard Wallace. It remembered what justice was supposed to be. He declined interviews, declined cameras, declined awards. He simply walked out the front doors with his briefcase and his silence, heavy with dignity. And across the country, in classrooms and briefings and newsrooms, people would replay the words that shifted a courtroom's soul. I didn't need her to see a general. I needed her to see a man.